Today we're going to look at two chapters, chapters 29 and 30 of 1 Samuel. The story returns to David, leaders of the Philistines. We get the other side of this battle that's about to happen. They don't trust David to be loyal, even though the person that kind of was David's overlord is like, look, he's been with us for 16 months. He's never caused any issues. He's been attacking the Israelites. He was wrong about that, but his perception was, he's loyal. He's a stench to them. He's not going to turn to them, and they're not going to leave him, alone. In fact, maybe he was thinking, maybe they'll target David instead of me because they'll hate him more than they hate me. I don't know. That's just speculation on my part. But David, the other Philistine leaders go, no, not a chance. We get into battle. He could turn on us. That'd be a huge issue. Send him home. So David gets sent home. He returns home with his men. He finds that his village has been attacked. His family, all the families, women and kids, have been taken as plunder by those that attack. There's just a lot of weeping and wailing that goes on, and understandably so. And then some men start grumbling and even considering to kill David. Again, it's a thing about grief. One of the stages of grief is anger. And sometimes our anger in our grief is misdirected. We can become angry at God when it really wasn't his fault. Or we become angry at someone else and just blame them because they're just there. They're in front of us. Or it's just easier to find someone to be the target of our anger. And we don't think through whether or not they actually deserve to be, which can also lead us then to wrong actions against them. Anyways, David consults with a priest and learns that, if you go after them, you'll rescue everyone. That helps calm the men down. But as they chase some of the men, about 200 of the 600, become just too tired to continue to chase. So David says, look, you stay behind with these supplies. Kind of would have made it lighter for the rest to travel. We'll go ahead because they wanted to rescue their families. They do rescue them. And now some of the men start grumbling about those that stayed behind. Those get tired. Well, they shouldn't have the same share as us. We did the fighting. They didn't do anything. David goes, no. And it eventually becomes a law that doesn't matter what role you have in the army. If you're fighting or you're protecting the supplies, you gain the same share. In some ways, it's kind of a piece of kind of generosity. We're all on the same team. We play different roles, and we're not going to evaluate who's more important or who did what or who did more. We are together. We see again here David seeking God's voice and obeying, different than Saul. Chapter 30, verse 6, it says this, and this is where I want to focus on to close this devotional. David found strength in the Lord. Notice that David found strength in the Lord before he got news from the priest that they would rescue the families. David took strength in the Lord before he even sought guidance from God in the first place. That thing is very telling. It's David, didn't find strength because, I got a good answer from God. God, you're going to do a good thing for me. No, David, in the midst of his sorrow, in the midst of his grief, he found strength in the Lord and then heard from God. He put himself in a place to listen, and even before that, to seek God. And sometimes in our grief, we can just stop listening to God. We don't find strength from God, and then we wonder why we're not hearing God. We're not in a posture to listen to what God may be saying to us. How did David find strength in the Lord? Obviously, I don't know exactly what David did, but from overall in Scripture, we can give ourselves some ideas of how we do this. When we're discouraged, when we're tired, when we're disheartened, when we're facing or experiencing loss, we remember who God is. There's a reason why Exodus 34, 6 and 7 are the most often quoted verses in the Old Testament. It's a reminder of who God is. It's what we do when times are difficult. Remembering, God, you're a God of loyal love and faithfulness. You're a God of grace. You're a God of mercy. God, we remember who you are, and then we remember also what God has done. Again, think of the Psalms. I know we haven't covered them yet. We'll get there. But so many of the Psalms are, God, I'm in trouble. God, I'm disheartened. God, I'm tired. God, I'm sick. God, I'm being attacked by enemies. God, I'm facing loss here. God, I don't understand what's going on. But this is who you are. This is what you've done. I find courage. God, lead me. God, I will follow. God, I will trust you. It's always reminding ourselves who God is and what God has done. And sometimes we are to be that person for someone else. Do it sensitively, not cliche, but times we need to encourage one another by remembering together the God that we serve, the God who loves us. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you. May the Lord be gracious to you. And today would you know his peace. God bless.